Okay, so we're into week 4 of the CMOT CMOOC, and we've got live with us Paul Devine and Renita Sharma from NMIT. So good to see you guys, and we're just hoping some other people will join us live as well, but if not, you'll get to watch us have a conversation. So yeah, week 4, it's about looking at the wider context. So it's about legislation and policy and the impact of that upon teaching and learning. But it's also been a bit of a catch-up week for most people. I think they've sort of been still sort of working around operational issues and teaching and learning and assessment. And I know you two have been doing quite a bit of work on your portfolios and Twitter and doing your VNR maps and Ecology of Resources. So yeah, just give us a bit of a heads up about what you've been up to this week.
Okay, well, the VNR map was very interesting. It was good to think about and good to put in a pictorial sense social media, not just social media, but what tools we use and how they fall into that spectrum of whether it's something more social or something more professional, and how it's whether I'm actually just a visitor or a resident. And the other interesting thing that was whether we're actually, what was it? Creators?
Consumer.
That's one.
Or creator.
Yeah, because that makes a big difference, because you might think that, oh yes, I'm not actually creating anything. You know, I'm responding. I'm not initiating something or developing something. So that was really interesting to think about.
Yeah, and I think that started a bit of a conversation. Well, people like that, and I think that got them thinking, was really the idea about not just being present in these various tools, you know, as a resident, but the idea of actually being a creator, you know, and producing and content. Yeah, I thought that was a really good concept.
Paul?
Yeah, I just, I think I mentioned last week, I talked about, you know, my head, I see being a kind of below the fold person, a kind of background and, you know, do things secretly, or, you know, and for me, you know, I'm going through this paradigm shift. Yeah, to me, it is a paradigm shift to be able to share things publicly, and so kind of uptight about it.
Yeah.
So that's been a big transition. One that's like, it's taken me like weeks, and I'm still there to actually kind of shift my thinking and be able to kind of, you know, it's almost like being, oh yeah, it's almost like being a bit vulnerable. I was reading your blog last night.
Oh.
Amanda.
Oh, I need to get better at writing shorter blogs. I think Tom always sort of probably groans when he sees something I post.
Well, no, I enjoyed it.
Hey, Amanda, introduce yourself to everyone. I think this is the first time you've joined us on one of these webinars.
Yeah, so I'm Amanda come lately. I'm Amanda Lee. So yeah, I teach ethics at AUT. So I've been doing a couple of things with Tom sort of over the last few years, just sort of tinkering with ideas and trying to do some different things in the classroom. Yeah, so I've got like a really big paper that has about 400 students per year. So for me, that feels big. Yeah, most of them study online, so there's sort of a few sort of challenges. So I'm sort of a bit stuck with the operational issues section, because I sort of don't quite know where to start, because there's lots of sort of issues for trying to engage students. Also, if you read my blog, I think I'd put in there, I sort of am a bit of an outsider, so I don't sit inside any of the departments in which I teach. So yeah, so it's sort of really quite difficult sort of hurdles to overcome to sort of sell your paper and yourself to students who, you know, are probably wanting to do other things. Yeah, I also have another paper called Media and Communications in Health Promotion. It's a paper that's been sort of dormant for about 7 or 8 years, and so we just resurrected it. But of course, in that time, the whole sort of concept of media and communications has changed so much. So I've been having lots of fun sort of trying to, sort of design that paper, sort of using some of the theory that reading about, it's more sort of student directed and sort of project based, which the students find really difficult actually, because they're sort of used to so much structure that when you sort of give them sort of an open book and say just go for it, they feel quite unsettled really. Yeah, so two pronged. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with the CMALT. It's to be honest, it's just really hard to sort of fit it all in. It's a really busy time of year, but I'm really enjoying the structure that every week we sort of get led along a little bit. So I'm enjoying that.
Yeah, it's good to see a portfolio start coming together, Amanda.
Yeah, slowly. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So another couple of things about Amanda. Amanda just won the Vice Chancellor's Award at AUT for individual teaching excellence. So
wow.
just blowing your trumpet there.
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. Yeah, I just made it up. Yeah.
So well done.
Thank you.
I was actually reading your blog last night, Amanda. I was reading the post on how you're using audio. We're trying to get your students to post audio.
Yeah. Have you had a go with that?
Oh, we've done similar things. But I even got to the point of starting to comment, and then I got a phone call and I wound up having to go out, and it just never happened. But
yeah.
Oh well. Whether I get back to actually comment, let me do that now and say, it was really, those issues. There's always a risk involved. Weighing up the risk of how many students are going to be able to do the thing and how they're going to respond if they hit an obstacle, and some students can hit it. And
I think I'm sort of finding over the years that students' height of obstacles is very low. Like they seem to just the smallest obstacle, and they're sort of coming to you saying, this isn't working, how do I do this, how will I fix this? And sometimes I find that I'm like suggesting very simple things like, have you looked online to see if there's a YouTube clip or someone explaining your problem? And oh, that's such a great idea, I hadn't thought about that. And so I sort of I get quite I think that's another operational issue. I get quite frustrated because I wonder how far our education system is sort of leading students down quite a passive track, and if it's not all just handed out, then they find that quite challenging. So I'm sort of keen to keep doing that.
I think one of the things that I find interesting is that kind of role reversal that we kind of experience by doing this the CMOOC as such, where you actually end up being more in the role of a learner, and so all the things that we complain about our students about, people do as a learner themselves in this forum, and all those sort of procrastination techniques, and Paul's really good at that, and and Amanda, and it's quite interesting to sort of see if we connect the dots sometimes between our own experience and what we're trying to do with our students. I think that's the core thing about the portfolio, CMOC portfolios, reflecting on those types of issues.
Yeah, I definitely think through this process and sort of other sort of communities of practice that I've been involved with Tom around technology, certainly learning how to use things has been really, really helpful in terms of understanding the different hurdles and the different ways my students will see things. And I just now know, I've got some sort of tricks for myself for where I would go because I know what sort of instructions, whether visual or looking at something or reading something, is going to help. So I sort of have got a bit better at sort of advising my students. There's going to be a whole range of solutions to help you learn this, get over this hurdle. And part of learning is that sort of metacognitive thing about learning how you learn, and so learning how to face those challenges. Because that's what they're going to be doing out in the workplace. They're not going to have someone handing them this sort of template.
Yeah, and I think that's why what we've tried to do with the structure of the CMOOC as well is to design sort of a variety of triggering events to get people thinking. So the last couple of weeks had a couple of visual things like the visitors and residents map that seems to have really resonated with people. The idea around ecology of resources, sort of that diagram. And then a couple of surveys just to get people thinking around some of their theoretical presuppositions. So hopefully that, and just generating discussion gives people a variety of tools.
Actually,
good.
I was going to say it's really interesting what you said, Amanda, about students giving up straight away, because I was a high school teacher for quite a while, and I don't know if it was a difference from country to city or state school to private school, but when I was in the country state school, in there and do it and work it out for themselves. But in a private or girls' school, they would be, every single thing would be, oh, Miss Sharma, how do I do, what should we do now? Is this the next thing? And it's so hesitant and so I think it might be because they've just had it honed into them that there's one right way to do things. And so they want to make sure that they do everything that one way instead of just, hey, work this out yourself, Have you tried to find some information for yourself? Have you tried to solve it for yourself?
But I think lots of our educations, because by the time students come to university, they've been in an education system for 12 or more years, and so I think they're very much entrenched in being expected to get things right, and that there being an answer. And I think some groups of people seem to be very sort of predisposed to having to have that certainty of thinking that I'm right. And so I think that it's a real challenge to encourage them to think more broadly. And also we're so obsessed with assessment. I'm not surprised that students are have that sort of slightly sort of give up mentality, or what is the answer, or where's the template. Because
that's it. Where's the template? Where's the model AI?
I need to know how I'm going to get an A.
Hey, was there any issues around the CMOOC or your portfolios that you'd really like to discuss or have clarification about at this point?
The ecology of, what was that called, Tom?
Ecology of Resources.
Yeah, because I saw someone had posted a sort of a whiteboard thing, and it looked cool. And I was looking to see if there was had been any posted about the sort of background to that, because I'd like to have a go at that.
Yeah, so that's really taking some of the concepts of rhizomatic learning. Dave Cormier, who was one of the key people behind the original CMOOCs. So his concept really is about, when you're designing the curriculum, it's about designing a series of triggering events to get students communicating, collaborating, and creatively thinking, rather than about designing content. It's about designing learning experiences and what he calls little triggering events. But to do that, to support that, you develop a group of tools, which the idea is it's an ecology of resources, a whole lot of bits that fit together and work together well. So just like in an ecological system, you have various elements that become interdependent and sort of stable. So choosing the right tools that are going to enable you to do what you're trying to achieve. So the idea on that diagram was that the BYOD part, the technology part, should enable your goals, and the goals are the key other circles. So trying to develop communication, collaboration, student portfolios, student publishing and sharing, and having some sort of admin hub to facilitate that. So as a concept, those boxes are your core graduate outcomes, and the tools that go into that are your ecologies of resources. That could be just about anything, but you choose what's authentic to your context for that learning context. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it's good. No, I'll go and have a read about that. Yeah, part of the problem is that because my paper's taught online, a lot of students sort of want quite minimal tools. They sort of want the blackboard, and then that's sort of enough. But yeah,
so I guess the argument there is what are you going to use in the industry? What's an authentic approach and tool? And if it's not Blackboard or Moodle, then that's not a really good choice.
Yeah. That's sometimes hard to get across to the student.
Yeah. So I think you start with the goal. What are you trying to achieve, and then you drill back down to, well, how are we going to do that?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Tom.
So just waiting for Renita and Paul to do theirs actually and share them. Put them on the spot now.
Ecology of Resources. Yeah.
And seeing as Paul did such an awesome job of his V&R map, he's setting the standard now for the Ecology of Resources too.
Yeah.
Take it to the next level.
Oh, that can be our collective homework.
I reckon, yeah. Okay, well, thanks for joining us, guys, and I think we'll sign off now, and hopefully some people will watch our awesome conversation later. So thanks a lot for joining us, and we'll catch you later.
Nice to meet you all.
See ya. Bye.
Nice to meet you. Love your blog. See ya.
Bye.